My story. Yes, I should have known. Master's failed specimen in the dragon's belly. This is where the story truly begins. If we switched places, if you were the survivor, I could finally experience the joy of being brought into the world.
So the Genshin Impact 5.6 special program just dropped a myriad of drama bombs, and among them is the fact that Albedo's on trial for murder. But what if he isn't? Perhaps the man we all think is Albedo is actually the Albedo clone who tried to kill us with a Whopperbedo way back in version 2.3. Oh yes, my friends, I don't think Albedo killed anyone. I think he's doing damage control for a certain homunculus the Genshin Impact community has dubbed Susbedo. I also think all of us OG Genshinites always knew Susbedo would be back someday, and I think that time is now. Hello amazing friends, Flobius here, also known as your 8-Bit Mom, to discuss some of what we saw in the Genshin Impact 5.6 special program. Ever since Mavwika punched a hole in the sky, mysterious calamities have befallen much of Teyvat. From the disturbance of Tao Do during Lantern Rite to Raiden Shogun's nightmares turn real during the Mikawa Flower Festival, no celebration in Teyvat is complete without a catastrophe to keep our protagonists on their toes. This video discusses events which occurred in the Genshin Impact 5.6 special program, along with content from the event story quest titled The Snowy Past and Shadows Amidst Snowstorms. If you do not want spoilers for either of these subjects, this is your spoiler warning now. While this video contains discussion about factual events which have occurred in-game, it also includes an array of personal theories and speculation that are of my own accord and are not the opinions of Hoyoverse or its affiliates. You have been warned! Here come the spoilers! 3, 2, 1, go! The Genshin Impact 5.6 special program introduces us to new names and scenarios, such as an amusement park in Fontaine, Aoife, saurian veterinarian extraordinaire, Dahlia, Deacon for the Church of Favonius, and the annual Windblum Festival in Mondstat. Meanwhile, someone stabbed Nuevellette. There are drugs in the deep. Hilichurls besieged Mondstat, and Albedo clearly saw a spider, so he decided to burn the whole city down and start over. I don't blame him. Teyvat is kind of a situation right now, guys. Let's see if we can sort it out. We'll begin with Albedo. There's a heavy focus on Albedo in the 5.6 trailer. He stands on trial, accused of murder and unlawful disposal of human remains. The trailer wants us to believe Albedo's on a killing spree and has led an army of ice-imbued Hilichurls down from Dragonspine to destroy Mondstat's capital city. Sinister Albedo has finally snapped. I don't buy it. Being inhuman just isn't in his nature, you guys. In fact, that was the primary focus of his story event. Besides, we already have a killer Albedo. Having two would just be overkill. In Genshin Impact version 2.3, Albedo's story event, A Tale of Three Albedos, revolved around his past and the existence of a failed experiment, Primordial Albedo, created by the Hexen Circle's own Rhinedottir. This event explored Albedo's self-doubt about his humanity and the fear of being replaced by his failed counterpart. Having considered him a failure, Rhinedottir basically left Primordial Albedo out in the cold to either fend for himself or die, while Albedo lived a life of quiet comfort. Seeking to replace Albedo and assume that comfortable life, Primordial Albedo created an imposter known as Fellflower. The event culminated in a confrontation between the real Albedo and Primordial Albedo, revealing the truth behind Albedo's shadowed past. Albedo et al. Managed to defeat Whopperbedo. However, the fate of Primordial Albedo is left ambiguous. In media, my friends, if you do not witness a body fall, I guarantee you that body will make a miraculous comeback sometime in the future. And that body will be alive, and it will be set on revenge. Leaving death ambiguous is how writers keep the door open for that character's possible return. We never actually watched Primordial Albedo die. Red flag. He has been set for a second arc of his own storyline for quite some time. At one point during our quest, Albedo says to the traveler,
If one day I lose control, destroy Mondstat, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop me?
This can be taken as foreshadowing, as Albedo is the one in the trailer who snapped, that Albedo knows he'll eventually lose control. I don't see it that way, you guys. One of Albedo's biggest concerns has always been his humanity and whether or not humanity does even exist within him. He shows clear concern about not wanting to become a monster, wanting to keep his flaws that make him human. He's philosophical here, he's hypothetical. You'd stop me, wouldn't you? Is a reassurance to both the traveler and to himself that these types of harrowing subjects are on his mind, and he does care about maintaining his humanity and never committing monstrous deeds. Someone who doesn't care about his own goodness wouldn't inherently ask for someone to have the world's back in case he ever explodes. He'd simply explode one day. This is a self-assuring comment. This is an insecure man voicing his thoughts in an attempt to self-soothe. Not foreshadowing. Taking a beloved character who for years has been portrayed to the audience as pensive, logical, and on the right side of humanity, and turning him into some bloodthirsty killer is a betrayal to the audience. And it's just sloppy writing. The backlash from the community over Albedo shedding his humanity like a skin would be unreconcilable, and the developers know this. You don't take a beloved character, especially one who's been around as long as he, and randomly turn him bad. Think of how viewers reacted to the end of Game of Thrones, or how Legend of Zelda fans would feel if Link threw down his sword and joined forces with Ganon. Betrayed. The feeling is betrayed, and betrayed fans are typically fans no longer. If Hoyo can take a character such as Linny, whom we only just met, and place him into a suspicion-arousing murder scenario only to prove him innocent at the end, they'll copy that series of events here. Given their penchant for avoiding irreversible consequences in Genshin Impact, the developers will paint Albedo as a murderer but go no further than painting him as one. There's also the fact that the trial is being held in secret. To me, this also is a red flag. It isn't even a real trial. At this point, Jean and our new companion Dahlia already know Susbedo is behind the scenes on this one, that he's the culprit. And they're trying to flush him out without tarnishing actual Albedo's reputation with a fake public trial. Here is why I think Susbedo is pretending to be Albedo and commit these atrocities. At the end of 2.3, Albedo ponders what he would do were he in the shoes of the villainous false Albedo.
My story. Yes, I should have known. Master's failed specimen in the dragon's belly. This is where the story truly begins. If we switched places, if you were the survivor, then as the abandoned experiment, the failure of the primordial human project, I'd want to replace you too. I would replicate your appearance, study your alchemy, and create miraculous life forms to divert your attention. I would wait for the right moment, then dispose of you and the Traveler, the sole person to have known your secret. And then, I could finally experience the joy of being brought into the world.
Albedo's clever. He would watch, he'd study, he'd mimic, he'd destroy, he'd replace. Perhaps whatever part of Teyvat snapped after Natlan afforded Susbedo the power to launch a revenge assault. Cause devastation, get back at those who would treat him poorly, and place all the blame on the man whose life was so good when his was just the opposite. Do I think it's Albedo confronting Rhinedottir on that chessboard? Oh, no, I don't. No, I do not. I think that is Susbedo bent to get revenge on the mother who abandoned him in the cold. It wasn't Albedo, you guys. There's a bad Albedo already out there whose fate is unknown. Albedo's thoughts have always lingered on preserving his humanity and not becoming the destructive force we see in the trailer. And at the end of the 2.3 quest, it is pointedly known by Traveler that the fake Albedo does not have a scar on his neck as the real Albedo does. There are plenty of moments in the trailer when Albedo has a devious look about him. However, the only footage of Albedo actually being destructive, the only time we see him causing true damage to Mondstat, shows us an Albedo with no scar. No scar, just like villainous, fate unknown, always destined for that comeback, primordial Albedo, Susbedo. Before I conclude my comments on Albedo, I would just like to mention to you that if you forgot you left Henry in the sand with that roast turkey nearby, you might want to go and dig him up. I'm pretty sure I left the poor guy stranded on the beach for a better part of a year. Sorry, Henry. For you HSR fans, there's also the off chance that Albedo possesses a Stellaron, or that he and the other Bedos are Stellarons, or that Albedo will someday skip right past Celestia and ascend to become Nanook. That's all in my crazy brain, however, and meant for later. The life of a mom is often chaotic and unpredictable, which is why there will be a part 1 and a part 2 for this topic. I'll publish part 1 here and now and have part 2 out within the next day or so. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on Albedo, Susbedo, Whopperflower Bedo, or any other Bedo while we're at it. I previously mentioned I'd give Primogems out after my next video, being this one, and I plan to deliver. I'm picking 3 of you this time. If your comment strikes me in the right way, I might just give you Primogems, or a Welkin, your choice. That isn't to say you have to agree with me. It isn't. I enjoy a good debate. Post your thoughts just as you normally would, even just to say hello. All I ask is that if you do disagree with me, be respectful about it. I don't put energy into insult comments. I don't. I forget about them and I go on with my days. This is Flobius, also known as your 8-Bit Mom, here to say that I'm so excited for 5.6, you guys. I'm so excited. I also want to tell you, friends, to stay Boston strong and just know that you are doing a great job at life. I'll leave you here to play nice and watch some footage of my kitten thinking she's funny while I thank all the people who commented and inspired me during my last video.